Think about one single habit that is silently stealing your happiness, your confidence, and your future every single day. For Aarav, a 14-year-old boy living in a small village, that habit was invisible. His life was defined by the grueling rhythm of poverty, waking before the sun rose to help his parents, followed by a walk of several kilometers just to reach his school. Despite the beauty of the green fields around him, Aarav focused only on the heat of the sun and the hardness of the work. He watched the world through a lens of bad luck, convinced that life was a series of events happening to him rather than something he could influence. He was trapped by the belief that his circumstances were entirely out of his control. Every grievance he voiced served to reinforce his role as a helpless passenger in his own life. One evening, while sitting by the river, Aarav found a sympathetic ear in an old farmer. As Aarav listed every unfair detail of his existence, the old man simply listened. The farmer proposed a 7-day contract. He gave Aarav an empty cloth bag and a simple rule. Every time a complaint left his lips, he had to put a stone in the bag. To remove a stone, he had to choose a proactive action instead of a complaint. Aarav laughed at the idea. To him, the challenge sounded effortless. He had no concept of how often he actually spoke his frustrations aloud. We rarely recognize how much weight our words carry until we are forced to count them. The first morning was a disaster. Aarav woke up late and complained, 1 stone. His breakfast was meager and he complained again, a 2nd stone. By the time he reached the muddy road to school, the bag was already beginning to pull at his shoulder. This chart visualizes negative compounding. Each red data point is a minor grievance. On their own, they seem light, but stacking up over time, they occupy your mind's entire landscape. By the 3rd day, Aarav's negativity cycle reached critical mass. The physical toll was undeniable. He was no longer walking. He was dragging a bulging, heavy sack through the mud, his body trembling under the weight of his own spoken words. The stones had become a physical mirror of the mental exhaustion caused by a life spent pointing out what is wrong. Aarav eventually reached a point where he simply could not move. The weight of the bag had surpassed his strength. He started to voice a complaint about the bag itself, but he caught himself. He felt the impulse to complain, and for the first time, he remained silent. He replaced his habit of finding faults with a single question: what can I do right now? He went home and helped his parents prepare the evening meal without a word of protest. He reached into the bag and removed the first stone. Instead of cursing the lack of light in the evening, he lit a small lantern and focused on his studies. Another stone was discarded. When he reached the river the next morning, he didn't stop to talk about the current. He focused entirely on his footing and crossed to the other side. As the bag lightened, Aarav's posture changed. He walked swiftly across the fields, the empty cloth bag blowing freely in the wind behind him. The world around him hadn't changed. The sun was still hot and the work was still hard, but he had grown stronger by refusing to let his own words hold him back. On the 7th day, Aarav returned to the farmer with an empty bag. He stood taller, looking the old man in the eye with a new sense of pride. The farmer explained that he never cared about the stones themselves. He wanted Aarav to understand that problems only begin to fade when we replace our complaints with action. Years passed, and this shift in mindset transformed Aarav's life. He became one of the most respected people in the village, known for his ability to solve problems that others only talked about. He learned that lasting respect is built by those who develop the resilience to face a difficult life without needing to announce their suffering to the world. To this day, when people come to Aarav to complain about their luck, he often hands them a single stone. It is a silent reminder of the lesson that changed everything for him. The most exhausting burden we carry is the constant habit of describing our own misery. When you stop complaining, you create the space necessary to act, and action is exactly where every great life begins. So, looking at your own life, will you carry the weight of stones or the weight of your dreams?